Writer and director Gregory Pellerito joins us today to talk about his latest film, Moments of Youth.
We'll be doing a deep dive into his latest film and exploring themes of the movie.
And also getting into the behind-the-scenes process that goes into making a film and the inspiration behind the story.
All that and more on today's episode of the Black and Snerdy Podcast.
Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snerdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna make magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. You know that she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the goat, talking about animation cause you know. Odie, she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snerdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snerdy, ooh. Black and Snerdy, yeah. Black and Snerdy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy Podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorice.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snerds here on a bonus episode of the Black and Snerdy Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you?
As many times as we've done this.
I know I always get it wrong, but I am allowed to put
Put your stank on it.
my stink on it.
Sure. Okay.
Some stankonia.
It's okay. You know what? That is fine. Put your mark on it. Put your scent on it.
Yep.
You're doing good, doing great. I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing okay. Last week was a lot.
Yes, it was. You made it through.
It was a lie. I did make it through, but I made it through to the other side, and I'm prepared for another week. I'm actually looking forward to this next week.
Good.
Yeah, there's some things that are happening coming up in the next week that I'm looking forward to. I got some things scheduled, got some things in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I think the week has started off pretty well,
Yeah.
I would say, you know. I'll talk about that more into the things that made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I would say overall, like I'm in a better headspace than I was in previous episodes and previous weeks.
Good. Well, tomorrow is June 1st, which marks an exceedingly important countdown. Can you guess what this countdown is?
It is the countdown to the summer solstice. That's right. That time of year when the day is the longest.
We're not talking about the damn summer solstice.
It is the longest day of the year.
It is the countdown to the most important day of the year. Yours truly.
You're right. Juneteenth. Absolutely.
Birthday.
Shout out to Juneteenth.
My birthday is in 2 weeks.
Yes.
I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
I'm always excited about my birthday.
You're always excited.
It is.
Period.
Well,
but you're also excited
I'm always
about
excited,
your birthday.
period. But I'm also always excited for my birthday. It is kind of weird this year because things have been weird for the last year.
Not the most optimal time, but
but I still
find ways to celebrate yourself.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing that regardless whether or not things are perfect, I think it's still important to
celebrate and chill out. I will give you a preview as to my contribution for your birthday. Don't be surprised if it's not like a gift of the Magi situation.
Okay. One thing though,
I might have to sell my hair in order to buy you combs or something like that.
But you know, when speaking of gifts, one thing that I was thinking about that I want this year is I want people to write me a letter telling me all the things that they love about me.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to tell me why you love me, why you're in my life, especially folks who I've known for years. Like, I want to know.
Okay.
Some people.
Present company excluded, right?
No, you're included in this as well. I want both.
You a letter?
I want both. Yes.
All right. Well,
I want both from you.
I will
I do
outsource
still
it to ChatGPT.
You're not going to drain a freaking rainforest to tell me your heartfelt thoughts about me.
I'm sure that it will come up with some very nice hallucinations. that come from nowhere.
It's not that you're amazing. It's M dash.
Yeah.
It's also.
Yeah. I honestly I'm sure it'll actually do is produce a letter that will be like those YouTube WWE videos of the AI. I'll get into that when we get into the things that made us happy, but spoiler alert, the AI on WWE videos are fucking crazy and I love it. But I am excited for you.
Thank you.
To be celebrating your birthday.
Thank you very much.
The big 3, y'all. I'm not sure if we should say the number. I don't know how you feel about that.
21.
Sure. All right. Yeah. The big 21. Big 2-1. Yes. Yes. You are turning 21 years old.
Forever young.
Having been removed from Howard University a decade ago. But
I started when I was a child. I couldn't help it. I was so smart.
Yeah.
What were you going to do?
Yeah.
Stop me?
You were a real Taj Mowry.
I was. She's a smart girl. Do, 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 do.
With that being said, are you ready?
Are you ready is the question.
First off, I'm ready like fish and spaghetti.
Delicious.
I was born ready, like fish and spaghetti is what I should have said.
Take this money.
Ain't no way you could take this from me. Today, as we mentioned in the cold opening, we have a very special guest for our very special episode. Joining us today, the writer and director of Moments of Youth, is going to be joining us today. Hit us with the synopsis for Moments of Youth.
Sure. So, Moments of Youth is set over one unforgettable night before graduation. The film captures the magic, chaos, and emotional turning points of youth as a group of friends navigate the end of one chapter and the uncertainty of what comes next. The film stars Sherry O'Terry, John Farley, Gary Pasteur, and Betsy Bittler.
And joining us, as I've mentioned, the writer, the director, the award-winning filmmaker who has won
34 film festivals worldwide and has appeared in 34 film festivals worldwide and has won 39 awards, including Best Feature, Best Director, and Best Screenplay.
Please give a warm welcome to Gregory Pellerito.
Hey, guys.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on. You guys had me cracking up in the open. and I love this theme song. That was really good.
Thank you. That's what you try to do. You got to make it fun.
You set the precedent, you set the right tone for the beginning, then everything else is just cool and fun. Absolutely. So first off, I want to thank you for joining us today, joining the Black and Snerdy universe. You are now a part of our extended universe. I hope you understand and appreciate the weight that comes with that.
Happy to be here, and I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, no, of course. How's your weekend been?
Weekend's been great. The weather's been nice here, or it's been kind of nice on and off. And, it's finally getting to a point where it's, I think, going to be steadying out, kind of nice permanently. But really nice because I had my niece's dance recital last night, which I'll talk about in the things that made me happy.
Nice.
And and enjoyed a nice Yankee win today, and just a bunch of stuff.
Well, Yankees.
Yeah, you're a Yankee fan too?
I am a Yankee fan.
Oh, nice.
I'm a tried and true New Yorker. The Yankees and the Knicks are always going to be my team.
And of course, I'm from Baltimore, so I say go Orioles, even if it's not been anything since Cal Ripken was around.
I mean, as a New York Knicks fan, I do not begrudge anybody who they love because you just have to be loyal to the brand.
And then it pays off 20 years later.
Exactly. At some point in a long enough timeline, things tend to turn around, as we're seeing with the Knicks. So
exactly.
That's all you have to do is just hold on hope.
Right. That's right.
Hold on for one more day, and they might win.
Things go your way.
Exactly.
All-time classic.
Thank you, Greg.
Phillips.
Love you already. Indulging in the shenanigans.
Yes. Thank you for playing along.
I will play along the whole way through, I promise.
All right.
So let's get into some of the questions we had for you.
Yeah.
Right?
So first off, want to say we watched the film last night.
Mm-hmm.
Together, and we want to say, like, as somebody who studied film at Howard University, like I came into this with like a appreciation for somebody who like had a story, had an idea, and put that out there to the world. So like I just want to say, like, kudos to you for making it all happen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to set that precedent now. But yeah, there were so many elements to the film, so many things that like we came out of it with, and so many ideas. Like, so I want to start off by just asking, like, there are so many movies out there right now, right? Can you share with us why this movie and why now?
Sure. Great question. So I've always loved the classic 1980s John Hughes films, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Breakfast Club, and then into the 90s with Can't Hardly Wait and American Pie, and then most recently with which has become one of my all-time favorite films is Perks of Being a Wallflower, which came out. It's probably one of my favorite films of the whole century, honestly. But I think, I also love films that take place in one day. And I got the idea to kind of build it around a scavenger hunt. I thought it would be really fun. But I also, the initial draft was of the screenplay was just about the scavenger hunt, a bunch of kids doing a bunch of really fun and adventurous and funny stuff, which is all still in there. But to answer your question, when I got further and further into it, if I wanted to make a movie about high school or teen life or youth today, I felt like there was a responsibility to really say something profound. And that's where I got the idea to sort of build the story that is now in the film around the major traumatic event that takes place. And because it's such a pressing issue that takes place today. I also felt like doing it with a lot of likable characters and a lot of fun events was a way to kind of touch upon a subject matter that's very difficult while giving it a very uplifting ending. I think that a lot of the components that we deal with are real life kind of characters, and a lot of the dialogue I made it to be important. Made a point to make sure that the kids talk like kids talk today. And I wanted to make a movie that kind of speaks to today. That's really what my main goal was.
Cool. I do want to ask a follow-up question. You mentioned like you specifically like wanted to make a film for today, and as far as like channeling the lingo and the linguistics that children are using today, or teens I should say, that are using today, did you find that challenging?
I didn't. I tend to pay a lot of attention to the way in which young people speak and that kind of stuff. But I also spoke a lot with our cast about it because they are that age. I took a lot of their suggestions, and honestly, I had a lot of fun, writing younger characters. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. So I wouldn't say challenging. I think it was a process that was actually really cool to do.
Oh, dope.
That's awesome.
So one thing that I really enjoyed about the movie was watching the friendships unfold on screen. Did you base any of the scenarios from your own high school experience?
Yeah, I get asked that question quite a bit. It's not really an autobiographical story, but a lot of the components to the movie are similar to things that happened to me. I would say I'm still, well, one thing I would say is I'm still very good friends with a lot of my best friends from high school.
Right.
And I would say that the clseness and the bonds of these characters are similar to how myself and my friends were in high school, still are. So I would say I would say that I based sort of the nature of their bonds on relationships that I have and friendships that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily say that any like specific character is based on like someone specific. I'd say it's kind of an amalgam of a lot of different people who I know and a lot of different experience. I did have a scavenger hunt in high school, which my team did win.
Shout out to you.
And I promised everyone that I would release the pictures at some point when I in the near future of our team winning. It was our senior year, right near graduation. So, similar in that regard. And there were actually some of the tasks from the scavenger hunt we had. So I did actually pull from those.
Awesome.
Now, where's the prize for your scavenger hunt? Lots of money?
Nowhere near what they win. No. It was a couple $100, I think. But, yeah.
All right. So, when writing the script, how do you navigate falling into well-worn movie tropes? And are there any that you just dove right into because you love them so much?
So as far as like Principal Crenshaw goes, I felt as though I wanted to make him specifically very different from the way in which we've seen principals on film, or even authoritative figures in general on film. He's kind of dorky, but he's just very charming and likable, and the students all love him. And also we get to see a different side of him in that the way in which this traumatic event affected him, we reveal, which I was kind of hinting at is something that he probably has been walking around with and hasn't really shown to the students or anyone at the school, because he's kind of had to be the one who's sort of held it together, so he's very funny, but also I think somebody who a lot of people really, really gravitate towards because he's very likable at the same time as being pretty goofy.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed like about the movie that I wrote down about the principal was like at first I was like, is he being overly nice? Or is it just his personality? But throughout the film, it kind of showed the way he showed up for me was that was just his personality. Like, yes, he's probably a little bit more chill than he may need to be, lets them get away with some things that he probably wouldn't otherwise, but because of this traumatic event, I saw him as someone who was trying to like be a supportive person like in their life, as well as like giving them that like mentorship that he might have felt like he needed but wasn't able to get because he's like the adult in the situation. So I really loved how his character played out.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think that at the beginning, like you said, he's got a very big personality, and and you don't know why he's letting the water balloon drop on his head without
going crazy.
Yeah. Instead, he starts dancing with them, and then, like you said, as the story progresses, we realize, a lot of it is probably because of the dynamic of everything that's transpired with these kids. Yeah,
exactly. And touching on that kind of element, obviously we're not going to give anything away, but like I was wondering, how did you work through dealing with the themes of trauma while making a movie that explored trauma?
Yeah. So I'll tell a story. When we had our read through, it was virtually, and it was during COVID, still during the lockdown, so it was all virtual on the computer. And when we got to that scene, we read through it, and for about 3 minutes, you just heard total silence. Nobody said anything. People were crying, and I just felt this kind of overwhelming, emotion that overtook all of us. And it was kind of in that moment that I knew we had, a really great story, but it was in that moment that I knew we had something very special. And, it was the same exact tone and feeling when we shot it. It was, it was very emotional to shoot for all of us. It was kind of just myself, director of photography and the actor, everyone else was off set, and we were just in the van shooting that scene when they were all talking about it. As far as writing it, I always know when something's going to really hit hard on screen or when people read it, when I get really emotional while I'm writing it. And I felt, really felt it strongly as I was putting the words on paper, and those are always sort of difficult to write, but they're often the scenes that have the most effect when it comes time to actually produce them. And in the edit suite, we said we're going to go way over what I even thought, and we added sound effects, and we went black and white in that scene, which I think makes it a very gritty and different feel for the whole rest of the movie, visually and also tonally. And there are so many different components to it in terms of the music, and when Lily starts singing, that's when we bring the color back in. So we did a lot of things that I didn't necessarily anticipate when I wrote it, but editing it was also every bit as emotional for me as it was. So it was emotional writing it, it was emotional shooting it, it was emotional editing it. And for our editor, very emotional for him and our whole editing team, because we all said, if we're going to do this, let's really go for it. And yeah, so, and I think that it really paid off on it, because I told everyone when we were shooting it, I said, this is the scene that people will be talking about 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road. This is the scene that, so let's give it the respect while we're shooting it that it 100% deserves.
And I think it's interesting to do a coming of age story coupled with trauma, because these are vastly different from the ones that I know that I grew up on, because they might have had like serious moments, but the things that kids are dealing with now and teens are dealing with now have changed drastically from when we grew up. And just thinking about, what kids are dealing with, like COVID is a trauma that, kids, both kids and adults still haven't really had a chance to grapple with and get the support they need. So I think that touching on those things in a film, along with the other myriad amount of traumas that kids are dealing with that we never could have expected, thinking what was going to be happening 20 years down the line, is really important. And so, for the sensitive material regarding the traumatic event, how did you decide what to show and what to leave implicit?
That's a wonderful question. So what I got the idea was that I wanted to tackle this specific issue, but I didn't want to actually show it taking place.
Of course.
What I wanted to show was 2 years later after it happened, because what I really sort of felt was important was that, we hear about these events happening and then they'll be in the news. And then, a week will go by or 2 weeks will go by, and unfortunately another one might happen, or a month will go by. Unfortunately, that happens so often, I guess.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to show was the effects that it has on people years later. These kids in the film are going to deal with this every day for the rest of their lives. So what I was trying to show, I wasn't trying to make any kind of major political statement about, gun violence or anything like that. I simply wanted to show how much it impacts people 2 years later, 3 years later, and then probably, there's probably not a day that goes by that any of them will not think about that day. And I imagine, in the research that I did, I was in school when the Columbine happened.
Yeah.
I remember that day, and that was unfortunately the first time it I don't know if it was the very first time, but that was the first time that I recall it happening.
Yeah.
That it was like the big one.
Seeing it on TV and being a part of it in the news.
Yeah. And I live about an hour away from Sandy Hook.
Right.
Yeah, I was curious if Sandy Hook in maybe not influenced, but had any bearing on
certainly had a major effect, yes, on me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Living here and and those kids, actually my sister-in-law teaches in that town. She's a school psychologist there. And I think that class just graduated.
Right.
Like super emotional for everyone. But it's as far as like what the research I was doing, I saw the kids the kids from Columbine talking about it in, it's now 30 years later, and I saw interviews with them talking about it and how much it still, affects them.
Yeah.
And of course it does. Right. So I felt like that was the angle in which I wanted to explore.
Sure. As somebody who went to school for film and someone who spends time studying media and studying stories on this podcast and just in general, I'm just gonna I came into the movie from a storytelling perspective, and I noticed some tonal shifts across scenes throughout the film. Can you walk me through your thinking on tone and how you decided to land where you landed, like based on the scene? Just walk me through that perspective.
Sure. Great question. So I came up with kind of a scale. I said if Breakfast Club is at a 1 in terms of major like teenage angst and melodrama, and American Pie is at a 10 in terms of like full on party, all the wild adventure stuff, I wanted to be right at a 5, right smack in the middle. So my thinking was I never wanted to be too over the top melodramatic, and I never wanted to be too gratuitously comedic for no reason. So a lot of the comedy, or all of the comedy, is situationally placed. There's no unnecessary jokes that just pop in out of nowhere, and then there's no over the top serious moments that aren't feathered in, into the moment intentionally or organically into the scene and the conversations. So and then I would often bridge a major serious scene and a really like silly either comedy or scavenger hunt moment with a good, like something that balanced the two out in between. So there was kind of like a bridge, like it would be like a really funny moment, but then in the middle it would be something that was not super serious but not too funny, and then we would get to the serious moment. So it'd be kind of like a progression up in either direction. So either really serious up to the comedy, or really funny up to the serious. So it was like that, in that we would tonally shift. Also, if you noticed, pretty much every scene has music in it, which I always, which we spent, actually my mom and I spent about 2 weeks just listening to original music for the songs that are in it. And I spent a long time with our composer, who did a fantastic job, John Baxter, for the composition side of things. And because I knew that given the amount of different tones and different types of scenes we had, the life beat of the film was going to be the music. And that's why we have so much of it. And again, same sort of thing. There's very serious songs, there's very lighthearted songs, and then there's ones that are kind of right smack in the middle. So using the music and also very specific types of camera work, the way things are shot, what's actually in the scene, the certain way things are lit and colored, helps that sort of sliding scale when you go from one extreme to the other type of thing.
It's funny that you mentioned American Pie, because while we were watching it, I remember saying like, "Oh, this is like American Pie plus trauma." That was the vibes that I was getting. Just thinking of how to navigating both the coming of age plus that severe tonal shift and being able to marry it into one. So I had a question more so about like the decision making process on the film. So someone we were speaking to recently told us that your favorite piece of tape is the one that you should cut. Is there a scene that you had to take out that you loved? And would you put out a Schneider cut of Moments of Youth to add in all those parts that you were missing? Because I saw in one of your interviews you were talking about loving seeing like the back end process of the film. So would you put out one of those so people can see everything else that you loved?
Yeah, like a director's cut.
Yeah. So I would say that the cut that we have is definitely the one I wanted to go with.
Mm-hmm.
There were scenes that got cut, which I would probably, I would probably do ultimately on the DVD, some kind of deleted scenes, that type of thing. And if possible, yeah, I would love to do like an extended version, at some point if it's possible. That's something that would be cool. But at the same time, I think the scenes that are in the film are all the ones that are 100% necessary. I think the ones that got the full scenes that got cut weren't needed, or I found a quicker way to get there. The edit, or we reshot some stuff. I think what we did do was if anything, we kept every scene that we absolutely wanted and that I absolutely wanted. And what we did was we just trimmed them down to what was absolutely necessary. So every scene that's in the film, there was nothing in there that I didn't feel like, oh my God, we lost that scene. I would have been upset if that would have happened. 2 hours and 5 minutes is the exact version that I wanted it to be. Sure.
All right.
Okay. That's great. That's great to hear. So like moving slightly to a different direction, as an indie filmmaker, you're working with a tight budget, but you were able to get some heavy hitters like Sherry O'Terry and a private jet. How did you decide what you were going to use your budget for?
That's it. Yeah. So Sherry and John and Gary and Betsy, all four of them had worked with two of our producers before we shot, so they were friends of theirs, and they sent over the script and they signed on, which was they loved the script and they said they would come and be part of it.
Awesome.
I knew that I wanted to spend a lot of the money on those 4 roles. I also knew that I wanted to spend a lot of the money on making sure the film feels big. So that meant we were at 3 or 4 locations in a day sometimes. And, the private jet took us a year and a half to book. And I'm thrilled that we did it because it was a really fun day to film on it. And, I love that we have it in there. I'm thrilled that with all, the back and forth of what it took to get it and finally lock it down after the amount of time it took. I'm so glad that, it came out the way it did. And yeah, I would say that I knew that a lot of the money was going to go towards our name talent. And I knew that regardless of anything, in order for the scavenger hunt to remain exciting and interesting, we had to keep moving.
Yeah.
Had to be in, it's essentially 2 stories being told at once because there's 2 different teams that we follow the whole movie. So basically, and they're never, they're not really ever doing the same things. They meet up in the middle at the carnival for a little while, but it parallels stories going on at the same time. we needed so many different locations, and they're happening simultaneously in the story, right? So it feels very large because of the amount of different things that they're doing, the amount of different places that they're going to, and also honestly the different kinds of things that they are doing. Professional sports game and private jet, and all. They're not like one house to another one where you can shoot. You can shoot in one house for like 12 and make it look like 7 different houses. There are of course interior house scenes that we did, but I knew that the money was going to have to be sent there to make sure that we are going to a lot of different and interesting kinds of places.
That's understandable,
And so, what advice would you give independent filmmakers who are trying to manage tone and performance on a tight budget?
So I would say the two most important parts of making any film, whether it's a big one or a small one, off the bat, I think is if you have a great script and very interesting characters in the script, that makes the process so much easier for a filmmaker, because if the story is there, then it makes casting very easy. And if you cast right, that's like good story and good cast, probably like 75% of the battle. Everything else, if you have strong dialogue and you have really strong actors saying that dialogue, then the other pieces all are pretty simple, and you can rely on that the whole way through. So I think in terms of then relying on tone, then it becomes just a matter of what the piece is saying. Is it telling you that everything should be very vibrant, or is it telling you that things should be darker or grittier or somewhere in the middle? And that you need to do way ahead of time. Corey, our DP, we built the look and the tone of the film about 6 months prior to filming, and we had the color palette set. We had every shot set well before. Obviously, when we got on set, I'm a very big proponent on not only improv with the story and the actors, but also changing up the look when we get there, because so many different things can pop up in the moment, and you want to go with whatever the best option is at the time, and what's available to you. And I think that the amount of prep that you do prior, there's never too much. You can prep every single aspect over and over and over again, and that will make everything so much smoother. So great script, cast really well, attract good talent by that script, and then make sure you cast the right roles, and then from there you build the world around what the script is telling you. For me, I've always written everything that I've directed, so I envision each shot as I'm writing it, so I know exactly how I want it to look. I write with that in mind, and I'm cognizant of what I want the shot to look like. As I know how I want the music to sound. I know what I want the characters to wear. I know all of it in my mind, and I think having that preparation and casting right and the script and all of that mix, then when it comes time to decide tone, it all, because all of that combination you already have will tell you what the equation is to deliver what kind of tone the film should have. And I think that, like I said, you can never prep too much.
Yeah, I think there's definitely power in not just like you are already owning it through the writing and the direction, but also taking charge of all the various elements that take part in a movie. Because at the end of the day, it's not just, people aren't just paying attention to what's being written or what's on the screen. They're looking into every other thing that's happening, whether it's the audio, the costumes, the background images. So being able to say, like, I know why this is here because I have taken charge and I'm doing it. And then once you get even bigger budgets and you have even more people, you'll still be able to have that anchor that can keep you tethered to the work.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think that no matter how big the budget is, no matter how many resources you have, always going to come down to how good the script is.
Absolutely.
You can't make a great film out of a bad script. It just doesn't happen. George Clooney said that. He said that I think there's a million ways for a film to go wrong on set, even if it's a great script. But he said, I've never seen a bad script turn into a great film. And that's, all the tricks and all the special effects and, the amount of money that's spent. If the story's not there, it's very hard to make it into a good film. So having that sort of independent background, I think, will ultimately play very well for me. And, the bigger the films get, and as far as any filmmaker goes, I think using that same sort of criteria and that same sort of nucleus from the get-go, it translates to no matter how big the film is.
That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense, and that feels like it rings true as well. So my final question to you, here from the Black and Snerdy podcast: what about moments of youth do you think will speak to our audience?
So I think that it is a film that mostly features younger characters in terms of Gen Z. They're the bulk of the main characters. However, I think that a lot of the themes are universal, and I think they cross over to every generation. I think that every generation can relate to not only the characters. I'm told all the time, like, I remember a guy, just like that in high school, or my roommate was the same as her in college. I think that what happens in the film are things that a lot of people can relate to, and also it brings back a component of nostalgia that excites them to be transported back to that period. Or in the case of anybody who's of the same age as the characters, it is relatable in terms of what is happening, and also I think that it's exciting for them to see the different possibilities that they could do, the type of adventures they could go on, and I think that also my biggest hope is that people watch the film and take away that no matter how traumatic of an event that can happen in your life, there's always a way through it in an uplifting manner that you can have as an outcome. And also the relationships and the bonds of the people around you help you through that event and help you to that uplifting moment, which is why it was very important for me to end on a really uplifting moment of these kids going off, to the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
And this night sort of serves as their way of, moving, they're never going to let go or forget about what happened, but this is their way of moving forward into the next chapter. And I think that, more than anything, people can relate to a story about hope, and no matter what background you have, I think a hopeful story and characters and a story that you're rooting for will always be a winner.
So, just as a refresher, this is our cast from Moments of Youth. And so I'm curious, my last question is just for you to, whether you have anything you want to share about the movie, or if there's a question that nobody has asked you, or something you've just been like dying to say. I would love if you could share it with the Black and Sturdy audience, or with us, and you can ask us anything that you might want before we hop into our next segment.
Anything that I haven't touched upon. I don't think there's anything that I haven't said that I can think of. I could ask you guys a couple questions if that.
Sure.
The second part, without saying what it was. I know we kind of got into it, kind of, did you figure out what the traumatic event was that took place before we revealed it in the car, in the van?
Yes.
Specifically what it was?
Yeah. And that's only, like I said, like I went to school for film, and like I've been just parked in front of a television ever since I was 5.
Yeah, same.
Watching TV, like watching story elements. Odie will tell you that I will literally sit, watch a movie, and I will be like, in the first act, the first 20 minutes, I will sit there and just be like, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. That's why that's happening. And then when it happens, I'm just like, ring ring, who called it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. Like, that's not I don't say that as like a bad thing. That just speaks. It's never a thing for me, at least. It's about how the story unfolds, and it's about how the story is told for me. You know what I mean? Like, every story has some iteration of it that exists. But for me, it's all about the execution and how you tell it.
Yeah, similar for me. So, like, of course, I grew up a latchkey kid. So, like, constantly watching movies and TV. And as a journalist, I try to be very observant when I'm talking to people and watching things. So, like, when I'm watching a movie, I always feel like it's a puzzle piece for me to to put together. So I was like clocking like all the little things that I noticed, and then I'm like, oh, so if I was in the writer director's shoes, what would I want to have? Like, what do I think the ending could be? So I was like telling him throughout the movie, like, I think it's going to be XYZ, and then I think this is going to be the big thing, and this is what's going to happen at the end. And you know, so I think that was a big part of it for me. But I think it was, you know, if you pay attention to the movie and if you pay attention to what's happening in the world, I don't think that I don't think there should be confusion when watching the movie. But I think that the way that there was never an implicit like, oh, like XYZ happened, or you're not seeing any like placards around the city and things like that, giving people, it's like you're having a scavenger hunt throughout the movie for your own self, watching it, trying to figure out like the clues of what happened.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's really well said, as far as like relating the clues to the scavenger hunt, as well as, you know, I also, with all the riddles and stuff, I was going for making it almost like an audience participation film. You're trying to guess along when they're trying to solve these riddles and stuff. What you said was really cool, in terms of you're trying to piece together like a scavenger hunt of what the pieces that are being sort of hinted at in the way that like they're having a scavenger hunt simultaneously. That's really well said. And I guess this would be something that I mean, I've spoken on this, but this would be something very new that I would be saying, and something that I'm going to speak about as far as my happy thing for the week is I'm incredibly proud of the film and, you know, all the success on the festival circuit and how we've done, you know, sort of worldwide on the digital front. But I think, you know, this is something that is actually happening tomorrow. We're starting a theatrical run.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, you know, it's not something a lot of films, you know, get, even big ones, you know. So the fact that that's happening is something I'm incredibly proud of. And, you know, we're starting in Eugene, Oregon, and two screenings this week, both with Q&As, virtual Q&As with myself and some of the cast and creative team. And we're going to be doing, you know, probably throughout the summer and a couple of these. So you know, I've talked about it, but this is the night before it's happening. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited for that.
Well, let's hope. If you all come to New York, please make sure to send us a shout out and we will come through.
Absolutely.
And support. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So now that we have gotten through the meat of the episode,
now we're about to meet our anger and vengeance with the things that are making us big mad.
Bring it. What? We gripe it. We're not griping anywhere else. We gripe it. This is space for us to share. We gripe it. We ain't griping anywhere else. We gripe it.
As always, this is the section of the episode where we complain or just vent about a thing that is making us mad, annoyed, or perturbed. I will start with Odie. What is making you big mad?
the MTA. The MTA is pissing me off.
Sure.
Yet again. Okay. On Saturday, I had the grand, whatever you want to call it. I decided I wanted to go chaperone a field trip for my students because they were doing a track meet up on Randall's Island. And of course, we have to get there to the school at the crack ass of dawn to get these kids up there by like 8:30 in the morning. And so then when we're leaving, like some kids, they can walk home. Some kids are taking the bus or whatever the case may be. But you got to wait with them. I can't just leave them and be like, deuces, I'm going home to take a nap. I got to wait. And there's a bus stop that's right in front of my school. And do you know that this bus, it should come, probably it should be like an every 10-minute bus, right? Mm-hmm. I look on the thing, it says 19 minutes. This is 19 minutes after all the other kids have gone on. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I finally look at the little stupid QR code to check, and it's 19 minutes. And then when this motherfucker comes, 3 buses come at one time.
Oh, wow.
3 buses. This is what pisses me off about the MTA, especially about the buses, because honestly, the buses in New York, they could be great. Especially in Brooklyn, you're going around in a circle, it's fine. But this fucking delay, it pisses me off. Maurice?
Actually, I want to see to our guest.
Yes.
Is there anything that is making you big mad or small mad or annoyed or perturbed this week?
So I wouldn't say it's big, but I was thinking about this, and we were talking about the Knicks, right? So I'm thrilled that the Knicks are in the finals. However, I love hockey, and my favorite sport probably other than baseball.
Sure.
And I'm, thinking about the Knicks being in the finals makes me somewhat, not somewhat, but very much remember 1994 when the Rangers and Knicks were both playing for the title, and the Rangers won the Stanley Cup that year, and that's the last time we won. It was not very close since. So I guess, I'm really thrilled that the Knicks are in the finals, but I would love to see the Rangers back in the and hoist the cup again. So
we deserve it.
Yeah, I get it. That's real. That's absolutely real. For me, I'm going to keep this very short, and I'm going to keep this very specific. The organization and the company Globar, what y'all are offering for the role of assistant studio manager is stupid and ridiculous for what y'all are asking for the interview process. Sorry, and you know what? I normally I don't do stuff like this. I don't name names or anything like that. But I
do it. Why not?
I will specifically shout out for it's a combination of things for me. It's a combination of the specific role, which is a assistant manager, but really the description of that role involves manager shit. The amount that you're paying is hourly. I'll just say it, $20 to $22 an hour is not great. That's not great at all for what you're asking. And then It is a 5-step interview process.
Whoa.
It is a phone call. It is a Zoom interview. It is a presentation. It is a on-site interview. And then it's another thing that I forgot. Glowbar, that is stupid. That is a stupid thing that y'all are doing. It is a stupid thing that y'all are paying, and it's a stupid way to live and operate and do better. That's all I'll say.
All these companies deserve to be shamed for the amount of money they are telling you that they're going to pay you for the amount of work that they actually want you to do.
Yeah, like I could spend a whole bunch of time getting into that whole process, but I'm specifically shouting out Glowbar because $20 to $22 an hour, that's nothing. That's not a lot for what you're asking for and for what you're asking for the hiring process. You suck. Moving on. With that being said, now that we've gotten the things that are making us angry out of the way, let us change gears and focus on the things that are making us happy. These are the things that are making us happy. Greg, I hope you like our theme song for the things that are making us happy.
Let's hear it.
Baby merchant, tops are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I love your baby for you.
If you want, you can stick around after the podcast and we'll explain the behind the scenes.
I'd love to hear it.
Why that is our thing.
Okay.
But I will start if that's okay.
Yes, please do.
The sole thing that is making me happy this week, actually not the sole thing. 1, doing this podcast with you.
Thank you.
2, getting to meet you, Greg. And 3, most importantly, hanging out with my godson.
Shout out
Fox.
to you, Fox.
Fox is a dope kid. And I'm just saying this, I'm just putting this out there. Anybody who hangs out with Fox, you hang out with a dope kid. He's dopeness incarnate, and you should hang out with him. And if you don't, you're missing out, because that's just what it is. So I'll just leave it at that. Odie?
I'm going to cede it to Greg.
Oh, there we go.
What is making you happy this week?
You don't want to go first? You sure?
No, I'm sure. I'll close it out.
All right. Okay. Oh, well, I would I would say, first of all, same thing, being here with you guys, inviting me on, and this has been a blast. I've done a couple interviews this week, which have all been wonderful too. So it's been a fun media week. And then I would, just harken back to what I was talking about a little while ago, which is I'm, very, very proud of our success, and I'm really excited about this upcoming theatrical release starting tomorrow. I've made a point to really celebrate the accomplishments throughout this process, and it's a big one. So I'm really proud of doing it, and I'm proud of our whole team for getting there. And then, sort of similar to what you just said, my niece's dance recital was last night, and she absolutely was spectacular. She had a solo that I didn't even know she had, and she was just brilliant. And she's my goddaughter. Fox is your godson. She's my goddaughter. I also have another godson. One of my other I have 4 nephews and a niece. So yeah, spending time with them and my whole family always makes me very, very happy. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We're big into family on this podcast.
Yeah, I always love spending time with my niece and nephew, even though they're far away. So awesome. I can only imagine when they start getting bigger and you get to go to fun things like that.
Awesome. What is making you happy this week, Odie?
Of course, doing this podcast with you, getting to spend time with you, and of course, being able to interview and sit here and chat with you, Greg, has been awesome. Hanging out with Fox and getting to see my students do their track meet at Randall's Island was really fun. I love getting to see the kids outside of school because it's a very different dynamic. You get to spend time and bond with them, and you can have fun because you're not talking about just learn and write stuff. And just getting to see them like push themselves and work hard, and get to spend time with like, my work friends outside of work is always nice. So that has been what's making me happy this week.
And that has been what's making us happy this week.
Yay!
Before we wrap up the show, again, I want to thank you, Greg, for joining the show. Do you have any plugs?
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. So watch the film if you're in the U.S., Australia, and Canada, you can watch it on Tubi. In the US and UK, you can watch it on Amazon, and the whole rest of the world, you can watch it on Plex. Then it's available on Fandango, cable platforms, pretty much anywhere you are, you can find it. So enjoy it wherever you watch it, and we appreciate all the fan support that we've had. Follow the film on Instagram and TikTok, and myself on Instagram, and you'll see all the cool and fun updates of all the stuff that we're doing and we have planned throughout the next couple months.
Awesome. And so we'll get your handles and we'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah.
And do you have already a list of all the places where it's going to have the theatrical release? If you have that, you can say them now, or we can add them to the notes as well.
Yeah, I don't have any concrete official places just yet, but it's looking like later this month we are close to closing the next couple.
All right, awesome.
All right.
When we do have them, I will post, and I'll be sure to tag you in it.
That sounds fantastic. Well, again, thank you, Greg, for joining us here at the Black and Snerdy podcast. Of course, I am Mo, aka Kid Licorice.
And I'm Odie.
And we will be back next time with more of this. Until then, take it easy, keep it lazy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening, Snerds.
Keep the show growing. Listen, comment, and download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Follow the show at Black and Snerdy.
Follow me at Licorice is Legit.
Find me at that'sod_e on Twitter and at that'sod.e on Instagram.
This is the Black and Snerdy podcast,
where nerds of a feather flock together.